सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। So today I'm not in Dallas, and I'm now in a supposed to be a cold place, but I guess the Lord has blessed me with a warm weather in a cold place, and I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So I'm in Minneapolis this Sunday, and trying to broadcast this from Minneapolis. And if there is, those of you who are watching or trying to watch, and you're not able to see the video, probably the upload streaming is slow and you'll not be able to see the video. So just tune into the audio. You can just watch the audio part or listen to the audio part and participate. So we are in the worldly number 1, and we are worldly number 2, and we have seen the qualifications of Shishya, qualifications of the Guru, and this is a beautiful dialogue that is between Yamadharmaraja and Nachiketa. Nachiketa is that smart kid who has amazing grasp, keen observation, and for various reasons he has angered his father, because his father was doing something that was not very appropriate. And he didn't want to insult his father by questioning him, so he puts it in such a way, but still his father getting irritated. His father sends him to, or he says that I have given you in dana to Yama. Or when you get frustrated and you say something which you shouldn't say. Maybe he said like something which today in today's vocabulary probably go to hell. That's where his office, Yama's office, his residence is in Swarga. So the office must be in. So he goes to this Yamapuri, that is the residential address. Yamapuri is the residential address, and he has been having a dialogue with Yama, and Lord Yamadharmaraja, he has tried to entice this young Nachiketa to make sure that he doesn't ask this particular Brahma Vidya. But Nachiketa does not get enticed, and he in fact gives a very powerful message or to us as a dialogue with Yamadharma Raja. He says, Shvobhava Martyasya Yadanta Kaitat. In the last line he says, Tavaiva Vaha Tava Nritya Gite. I really don't care, I really don't like what you have been offering. I thought you could give me, I thought you could share with me the knowledge of eternity. But if you think that you cannot share that eternal knowledge, keep the third boon with yourself. I really don't care, I really don't want. Tavaiva Vahaha Tava Nritya Gite. So having said that, now our um, Yamadharma Raja is very much pleased by Nachiketa's sharpness. And to him he says, what are the qualifications of a true student? And not just that, but it also gives what is the um, qualifications of a true guru, and why, when we try to understand this knowledge, the various methods that we think can be applied truly don't work. So we were in the ninth mantra, and the ninth mantra goes thus. So repeat after me. Naisha tarkena, Naisha tarkena, matirapaneya,
Matirapaneya,
प्रोक्तान्येनैव
Proktanyenaiva,
सुज्ञानाय प्रेष्ठ
Jnanaya Vesha,
यां त्वमापः
Nam Tvamapaha,
सत्यधृतिर्बतासि
Satyadritirbatasi,
त्वां दृङ्नो
Mangrino,
भूयान्नचिकेतः पृष्टा
Bhuyanachiketa
पृष्टा न एषा तर्केण मतिः आपनेया. This knowledge that we are talking about, this Brahma Vidya, is unlike any other Vidya, unlike any other knowledge. What do we mean when we say unlike any other knowledge? In all other knowledge, the secular knowledge, the science, we need to process that knowledge through the intellect, through logic, through reasoning. But this particular knowledge cannot be attained through tarka, logical deduction. At the most, what we can do is use the logic to remove all possible confusions, to remove all possible doubts, to remove all possible questions. Now, once the mind becomes unagitated, once the mind is silenced with these answers, one has the possibility to transcend the mind. So it is not through the mind it is achieved, it is by transcending the mind that we achieve the status of Brahman. That is the uniqueness of this Vidya. That the knowledge cannot be ascertained through intellectualization. Na esha mati apaneya. Na tarkena esha mati apaneya. Logic works in the realm of matter, and that which we are trying to pursue in Brahma Vidya is not matter. Therefore, the known method of understanding this knowledge does not matter. Na esha tarkena mati apani. Therefore, one should be very careful not to indulge in tarka, not to indulge in unnecessary blabbering. Otherwise, we get caught up. Is that truth? Saguna sakara, nirguna nirakara. That being formless can express in forms also. It is not limited by anything. It is not limited by limitations. Therefore, trying to argue about it is mere waste. I'm not even talking about the Sanatana Dharma versus other religions. Within Sanatana Dharma, there is enough to break head with. There are Dvaitins, there are Vishishta Advaitins, there are Advaitins. Usually I joke around saying that the horizontal lines versus the vertical lines. Those who worship Shiva versus those who worship Vishnu. Those who worship Vishnu say that you have to be really qualified, acquired lot of punya to really worship Vishnu. Those who are not qualified, those who are nicha, they worship Shiva. So staunch is the objection that in Vishnu Sahasranama there is a particular line, Rudro Bahushira Vapro Vishwa Yoni Shuchishravaha. The word Rudra is the name of Shiva. And instead of saying that, they almost swallow it up. Vishwa Yoni Shuchishravaha. Even saying that name, Shantam Papam, it is Papa. That is a kind of fundamental fanatism that gets into picture, and no growth is possible. Na esha tarkena matihi apaneya. Don't waste the time in unnecessary logical debates. Use that logic to quieten the mind, quieten the intellect, get all possible answers possible. Quietening the intellect will not give you Brahma Vidya, but it will ensure the environment prepared for Brahma Vidya. So that the mind is quietened, the intellect is answered. Now, having gotten all the answers, now when I used to meet Gurudev, I used to go so prepared. Sometimes I used to feel that he used to hypnotize people around him. That I used to have so many questions, but when I would approach him, meet him personally, my mind has become so quiet that there is no questions in there. And as I step out and get into the bus and I forgot asking questions. So I would make sure that I would write all these questions, have a, with an ink pen, put a mark on my hand, so that when I see my hand, I remember that there are questions in my pocket, made all kinds of possible, pointers. I would question, I must have asked in all these different situations and scenarios, I think about 150, 200 questions. Every time I would meet, so he would have that genuine smile, a welcoming smile. So here comes my investigator. Okay, what do you have to grill me with? And he would invite. So at that point, all these questions that I had doubts about, those got cleared. Not that the bigger picture was attained or bigger understanding was possible at that time. He spoke of various things which I did not understand. But that which were my problem, that I had a jigsaw puzzle and I couldn't figure it out, that jigsaw puzzle was kind of sorted out. Though the other things that I did not understand, but that which was bothering me, I understood it well. And in that understanding, I found that though the other questions I don't understand now, he has answered my basic queries in a very logical manner. Therefore, with the benefit of doubt, trusting his answers, because 200 questions he has answered very systematically, and it has silenced my intellect to a peaceful realm. So that which I don't understand, I'll take it with faith that here on, moving forward, as I put these things that he has instructed me with into practice, I have a possibility of reaching that which is indicating, which is not a part of my experience today. That is where faith comes into picture. And again, we get misled with some mumbo jumbo that we use. When they say that, oh, I don't believe in this faith and other things. I need proof, I need experience. Hey, Baba, when you already have an experience, you don't need faith. Faith is only required in the realm of those when we have not experienced. Like for example, when there is a statement saying that fire burns. Those who do not have the experience, they would say, I believe fire may burn. Those who have the experience, they do not say in a belief system. They'll say, I know fire burns. Because once you've experienced it, it becomes fact. And in that factual experience, you do not require faith. So what is the mumbo jumbo that we get caught up in? I don't believe in blind faith. Faith is required only at that time when you are blind, not otherwise. So, prokta anyaneva sujnanaya prestha. When this knowledge is given by the teacher, that teacher who holds this knowledge as an experience, as a personal experience, not because it is read through the books, not because it has been pointed by some Guru Parampara, but that pointers have been seen through, experienced and validated. So last time also I made this statement that until we experience that, the scriptures are the proof. Having experienced, that who has experienced becomes the proof for the scriptures. Now the feedback loop. So that experienced one, the realized one, stands as the example validating the scripture. Therefore, he becomes a Sreshta, more valid authority than the scripture itself. So when such one, Satya Dhrutir Batasi, when such one speaks of this knowledge, the real student should be able to grasp it with keen listening. And here he says, Tvadrunno bhuyan nachiketa prashta. Now this is a genuine cry of any good teacher. As much as we search for good teachers, it shouldn't surprise us that the good teachers are also searching for a good student, genuine student. To find a genuine student is not that easy. Because many of us have, in today's culture, we don't study to get educated, but we study so that we make a living. The whole mindset has changed. Once you get educated and you're grounded in that, firmly rooted in that education, naturally you will lean towards making a living. But if the focus in itself is making a living, then you are cutting the education process short and you are only dumping data into the cranium, which is what is today's education process. So to find a good Sishya, now our Yamadharma Raja, who is the teacher here, he is at a very interesting threshold. And what is that interesting threshold? He is standing at that point wherein he can clearly see death and after death. He is the one who is observing both processes of folding up and unfolding, Vyakta and Avyakta, both he is able to see. Meaning it is not just a scripture or a belief system, he is the one who is fully experiencing it, seeing it as a, that's his job description. Now that job which is his profile, who else can be a great teacher other than him? And since how long has he been holding this post? Since the beginning of the creation. Now, before the creation begins, you need all these essential posts filled in before the creation starts. And that is the entire frame structure that is required. That framework is required. So he was there just before the creation began. And since then, poor Yamadharma Raja, he says, I have never had a good student. As a teacher, I feel blessed to find you, Nachiketa, because good students come very rarely. Tvam Drangno Nachiketa Prashta. Because your process of inquiring, process of deciphering all the possible tests and shattering them with your fierce, keen understanding and the grasp, I seldom find in a good student. Now you are here, I feel this should be a good dialogue. And even a good teacher requires a good environment. Yeah, they are also saying that if you are a good teacher, whoever is the student, you turn them into goodness. It is an uphill task. True, the teacher should be, if the teacher is really that good, should be able to do it. Yes, they do it too. But it is one, tough task. And when it is already like a ready-made, the Shishya is ready. So the dialogue that happens between the Guru and such Shishya is of very intense nature. So there he continues in the 10th mantra in our Kathopanishad book. It is on page number 83. So there he says, please repeat the 10th mantra after me. Jam Shevadhiritya Nityam Nahyadhruvaihi Prapyate hi dhruvam tat tato maya nachiketaha chitognihi anityair dravyaihi praptavanasmi nityam. Here he talks about his own experience. He says, know that, understand that. What do you have to understand? Janamyaham shevadhihi iti anityam. That which is eternal, that which is of the nature of permanence, cannot be found through that which is impermanent. And this was a few years ago. There was this person that I knew. He was laid off, and the market was so bad. He was laid off, and he was searching for a job, and they wouldn't come by that easy. So finally, one day he called me up and he said, "Swamiji, I found a job." I said, "Where?" In a bank. So how long is the? He said, "It's a permanent job." I said, "Wow, very good, lucky." Now this permanent job, where is this bank? What kind of bank? He said the bank is a temporary bank. If the bank is a temporary bank, how permanent is your job in that? Similarly, that which is of impermanence, the means and methods, through those means and methods which are impermanent to find permanency is an impossible task. Janamyaham shevadhihi iti anityam nahyadhruvaihi prapyatehi dhruvam tat. That which is dhruvam, eternal, cannot be found, cannot be traced, cannot be entertained by that which is transient. Like another example that I can take, which will strike a home run. We try to find eternity of this body, and this research seems to have been quite a task right since Satya Yuga. See, all the asuras and rakshasas, what was their desire? That, oh Lord, give me a boon so that I live eternally like this. Make sure that my body cannot be harmed, cannot be destroyed, cannot be. They would ask all causes possible. I may be harsh here, but as I would say, suck it up. Because that is the truth. Those who are trying to find permanency through the body, to maintain the body permanently youthful, what should I call them? In the Satya Yuga, those who were trying to find it, what were they called? Asuras and Rakshasas. So if today we are trying to find it, what are we? The same brand. In that day, in that Yuga, there was one Asura for that Yuga. Now in Kali Yuga, we are all miniatures, miniature Asuras. I don't know which movie or what it was striking. Me and mini me. So we are the mini me of the Rakshasas. Because we cannot find it. Now another logic add to that is what sustains this body? That which sustains this body is food. The food that sustains this body, how long does it last? The food, you keep it on the open weather, it starts putrefying in like what, 4-5 hours. It starts changing its taste, it starts changing smell, it starts, now you keep it for a few more days and it starts growing things. Your lunch box becomes a microbiology lab, because all kinds of creatures start growing there. So that kind of food is given to sustain this body. That food itself is not permanent. How can the body that is sustained by such food be permanent? So his statement is really beautiful. Nahi adhruvaihi prapyatehi dhruvam tat. Through adhruva, impermanent things, transient things, to find permanency is an illusion. So when they say that samsara is maya, samsara is illusion, what do they mean by that? They're being very clear. They're saying that the attempt to find permanency through the impermanent is an illusory process. And what it can lead us to is called delusion. Illusions can lead only to delusion, not to moksha, not to permanency. And then he says, at that time, when I started the sadhana, I'm not talking of myself. Yamadharma Raja is telling Nachiketa, he's saying that at that time, maybe in the earlier kalpa, at that time when I had started the tapas, nobody pointed this aspect to me. All that was, that had gripped my understanding was to reach to this so-called eternal position in comparison to the Bhuloka and the Jiva, the human form. In comparison to that, this was looking eternal. But now, how did you reach there? Nachiketa Agni. By performing the Agni which I have taught you, and because you have memorized it with just one listening and repeated everything verbatim with thorough understanding. It was not just spitting it out, but with thorough understanding you have given it. I have dedicated that process in your knee. How impressed must this Guru have been? Like, there are lab assistants and they do the research, and who takes the credit? The professor takes the credit. Am I wrong? Am I exaggerating? Not everybody, but usually, at least if not that, there is a co-authorship. And when you publish papers, there is a co-authorship. And the logic here is nobody will recognize your name, put my name also, and you will also get the credit. So that way it is a win-win situation. I get credit, you get recognition. And here is this great master in Yamadharma Raja. He says, enough of this credit. This Agni actually will find its worthiness if I dedicate it with your name. Nachiketa. At that age, nobody guided me properly. And Yama himself saying it, okay? He says, I am stuck here almost for eternity. But Nachiketa, you have outshined me. At your age, I did not have this clarity. You have the clarity which I lacked. I am stuck. But yours will not be that position. I'll guide you through to the other side. I'll guide you to that permanent state of existence. Therefore, he continues the 11th mantra. He says, Kamasya Aptim Jagataha Pratishtham Kratoho Anantyam Abhayasya Param Stomam Mahat Urugayam Pratishtham Drishva Dhritya Dhiro Nachiketo Atyasrakshihi Here he says, Kamasya Aptim Jagataha Pratishtham. Kamasya Aptim. Putting an end to all the desires. Now, how do you put an end to the desires? If I had a clue how to stop this stupid mind of mine, I would have done it long time ago. But presently, whenever I try to stop the mind, it becomes over agitated because it is a external thrust, external pressure. From the inside, I should be able to identify, I should be able to find what is it that is causing the agitation. Because we have defined our lives in a very funny condition. And what is the funny conditioning? Fulfilling desires will give me happiness, though not eternal. Therefore, what do I do? What does our mind do? It develops a unique plan. Because I love that eternity of happiness, but I since don't get it, what should I do? Every moment of my living time, fill it with various objects and indulgences of these objects and people, that at the end, when I put the balance sheet, there are small nuggets of joys, and I plug them all together and say, today was very contentful. Alas, all that which I have gathered today is already wasted, gone by. So tomorrow when I wake up, I have to start over again. Instead of that kind of a pathetic existence, one should understand the root cause of desire. Kamasya aptim. And then uproot that. Kamasya aptim jagatah pratishtham. That is the foundation of this samsara. That wrong concept is the foundation of this samsara. Here it also says there is a conviction within each one of us. What is the conviction? I need to be happy. What do I want? I need to be happy. And where is my happiness? It is out there in the world of objects, in the world of emotions, in the world of decisions or thoughts. As long as we have that conviction that I am vulnerable because that which can make me happy is not around me, and life seems to enjoy its humor through irony. All that which I don't want, don't like, don't care for is all around me. Things, beings, and situations, and emotions. All that which I care for, all that which I love, all that which I like, where is it? Far away. So we get into this hamster syndrome or treadmill syndrome. I have patented that syndrome. So what does a hamster syndrome or a treadmill syndrome mean? You run and run and run, reaching nowhere. Amazing, right? What have you been doing? Oh, lot of effort. Doing what? Running. What have you accomplished? Zilch. Zippo. Nothingness. Emptiness. Void. What I have achieved is just a big mirror. So instead, what should be the focus? The focus should be that my happiness is not there out in the world of objects, world of emotions, and world of thoughts. That day when I convert myself, that day when I change myself, that day when I change this conviction, a seeker is born. That day is the true Janma Dina. Up until then, we were only leading Marana Dinam. because we were like the thoughtless sheep running towards death, slaughterhouse, around death. Instead, I like this. Here, when somebody dies on their tombstone, over the tomb, they say R.I.P. The poor fellow is dead now, you want to rip him? Come on, where is the sanctity? Where is the genuineness in your heart and compassion? At least leave the dead. Why do you want to rip them? That is what was my thought process when I first saw it. If they all say rip, 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 of whom somebody said this country loves acronyms. If given an opportunity, they'll make acronym of everything. In fact, a funny thing happened. When Gurudev used to come, everybody out of respect would call him Swamiji. So many thought that when you say Swamiji, it is not J-I, but it is the alphabet G, which is a shortcut for Gurudev. G for Gurudev. And before Guruji, Swami Tejavananji, Swami Purushottamananji used to visit US. And people started calling him Swami P. And Purushottamananji was very fun-loving. He would, the moment somebody called him Swami P, he would say, Chi! He would insist, don't call me Swami P. Call me Purushottamananda. If you find that very difficult, call me also as Swamiji. How can I call you? And they thought again that you have Alexander I, Alexander II, Alexander III, Pope I, Pope II, Pope III, Pope Senior, Pope Junior. Like they have, we say that you are now second. This particular mantra. Kratoho anantyam abhayasya param. Kratoho anantyasya param. Kratoho means of taking the traditional meaning of yajna and havana. Any action done, its results is only limited. And one cannot hold the results and its timing. You cannot hold it. It will yield the result whenever it is the time for it to result. Like for example, today I am here in Minneapolis. Today there is this satsang on kathopanishad happening from Minneapolis. And today in the audience there are completely new people. And we are all of different age groups. Maybe you are 14 or 15. So we have a 15-year-old all the way up to, you know your ages, I'm not going to ask. Let me be diligent about it. Because we are become so sensitive that you call an old person old, they feel hurt. You call a bald person bald and the bald person feels hurt. You call a fat person fat and they feel hurt. You call a dark person dark, they'll feel hurt. But I like it when somebody had a t-shirt and it said, I am never upset because I know how to set it up. And what was he using that fun for? His fun was, what can UPS do for you? Okay, what can Brown do for you? Yes, I am Brown, I am proud to be one. If you can recognize a Brown as a Brown, there's not, you don't become sensitive for it. I'll look at these two words. Sensitivity and sensibility look synonymous, but they are not. Sensitivity. If you go to the toothpaste aisle, you find that there is one particular toothpaste which is quite efficient with sensitive teeth. So when they use that sensitivity with the teeth, what do they indicate by that sensitivity? That sensitivity is a disease. It needs cure. So when they say that, be sensitive, I said I refuse to be sensitive because I like to be sensible. There's no point being sensitive because the sensitivity only leads to sentimentality. What does sentimentality mean? Every centimeter of our life we become mental. Sentimentality. All this karma is, needless to say, limited and cannot yield that permanence. Kratoho, kratoho, actions. Actions cannot yield permanent. Actions cannot give. So, what should our understanding be? From this, whenever we ask question, why do you work? Why do you do what you do? The usual answer is, I am working for happiness. All the best. May God be with you. May the force be with you. Why? Because you will be constantly disappointed. So what is the scripture trying to say here? You can never, you will never find happiness through karma. A very profound statement. It took me about 4.5-5 years for this statement to settle down in my heart and the meaning ooze out. It took me that long to grasp this statement. How can you say that? Because my entire planning is around this karma, and I plan this karma in such a way that every action I perform, I want to eke out some kind of pleasure, some kind of joy. And here you're making a statement that through karma you can never ever find. You will never ever find happiness. That day when we understand this, understand what? That my happiness is independent of my karma, my interactions. My interactions with what? Interactions of anything external. Interactions with objects of perception, objects of emotion, objects of thoughts. Interaction with them, it can never ever yield. Gurudev, in one of his statements, he says, who says that the world cannot give happiness? It does give in his own terms. But damn it, it is not permanent. Karma cannot give happiness. So once we understand what do we learn from it? We protect the seeker in us. That U-turn that happened, that U-turn wherein you actually celebrate that moment, which we just talked about. That U-turn when it happens, what does it mean in a practical sense? That I am no more vulnerable to any action or interaction. I do not disappoint. I refuse to disappoint myself by expecting happiness through karma. Happiness and karma are two different tracks. Parallel tracks moving together but never coming together. They are together, but they never cross each other. Because sometimes the moment you hear a statement so profound like there is no happiness in action, immediately what do we conclude? Then why in heaven am I doing it? Why can't I just drop? Right? You cannot drop it. How far can you run away? You cannot. So what happens with this change, with this shift? I become fearless. Nirbhayatvam, fearlessness becomes the result. Fearless meaning my happiness is not out there at stake. Once I realize it, nothing can shatter, nothing can break, nothing can stop my state of being, my state of happiness. And karma on the parallel side has to be performed because that is how life throbs out in interaction with the world. Then why do I have to perform action if it does not yield happiness? Karma has to be performed chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam to purify and then pave the path, create a clearing. In that clearing, I sit in the seat of meditation and abide in my true nature of happiness. So that has to be understood. That firm resolve, that firm conviction has to be created. And then he says, that all these karma phalas leading all the way to Swarga, Swarga Kanksha. So what is this people's method? These people starve themselves in this world so that they can go to the other world and freak out in enjoyment. How long can you last there? When you go to vacation, how long do you take that vacation? As long as there is visa. When you visit a different country. The moment that visa expires, so in Swarga, what is the visa? Your Punya Phala. How long will you be in Swarga? As long as the Punya lasts. And once the Punya is done, you are thrown back again. Therefore, he praises Nachiketa again. He says, Dhrutya dhiro Nachiketo atyasrakshi. Hey Nachiketa, you are a brave one. Why? When I enticed you with all these things, you rejected them and threw them aside. That is the spirit, that is the conviction that a true seeker must hold. They can never make that statement, best of east and best of west. If there is a boat going to that side of the shore, and there's another boat going on this side of the shore, and you have 1 foot here, 1 foot there, and gleefully taking a photograph saying, I have achieved it. Achieved what? I'm going to get best of both worlds. Before you realize what will happen to you, you are in the samsara sagara. You are drowning. But Nachiketa, proud of you, son, that you have chosen the right path. You have chosen the path of Shreya and not the Preya. We'll continue with the next mantra next week. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.